Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for the likes, the comments, and for subscribing. If you're new here, please subscribe to this channel. If you're not new, also please subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to click on the notification button to be notified anytime I drop a new video. Please like this video, give it a thumbs up. Tell me what you feel about this video in the comment section. Guess what? Masa finds out that Devi is not pregnant. You need to watch till the end to find out how it happened. Please subscribe to this channel. Let's go. Adi says to his client, I have to go and shop for my baby and wife. He buys a lot of toys. Dai checks Devi. She does her tricks on her. Masa says, is the child okay? She says, what child? She isn't pregnant. There is no child in her womb. She is a liar. Adi comes and says, what happened? Masa says, she fooled us all. Adi says, what are you saying? Masa says, she isn't pregnant. She had been lying all this time. Adi drops the toys. Devi says, He says, you don't have to give any clarifications. I know you won't lie to me about our child. Dai says, but my experience. He says, I took her to the hospital and I trust doctors more than Dai. Masa says, Adi, you can't see it. Adi says you see conspiracy in everything. Davy's womb has her heir, my child. Please stop this hate. Ambika says to Devi, you have to live with this lie. You can't tell him. He has started trusting you. Everyone can see the good in him. Adi says to Masa, I just want you to be part of my happiness. I beg you, don't do anything that affects our relationship. Hera, which is Masa, comes to Devi and says, you are playing this game. Devi says, you are right, there is no child in my womb. I will play this game honestly. Hera is angry. Devi says, you use so many lies to defeat me, but I am using lies to win my husband. My lie is to bring happiness. Hera says, you better told me the truth. You know what will happen when Adi gets to know. He will hate you and never trust you. Devi says, once I win his heart, your hatred will go out of his heart. This is my challenge. Hera says, I will wait to see you defeated. She leaves. Devi says, before Masa uses this lie, I have to tell you this truth, Adi. But I have to win your heart and trust first. Ambika says, how will you stop Masa? Devi says, I will tell him lie first. Ambika says, why don't you turn this lie into truth? Devi says, how? I don't want my actual child's life to start with a lie. I will do this once he actually loves and trusts me. Ambika says, I have to do something. Devi comes to the room and opens a box. Adi comes. Devi hides it. He says, what are you hiding? She says, I found this trumpet in your closet. What's the story? Is it yours? She says, can you play it? He says, I played 15 years ago. She says, you can try after 15 years. He says, I don't do it anymore. She says, music doesn't ever go away from you. She gives him the trumpet. Adi throws it out. He says, once something is over for me, it's over. Hera says Adi will break his relationship with you too. Devi says, I won't let that happen. She says in heart, what if that actually happens? Mukun is changing his shirt. Kesa says, can you put this sandal? It falls by his hand. Kesa says, oh, this is so bad. Adi is asleep. Devi comes to his room. He says, what's in your hands? She says, nothing. Adi checks her hands and his trumpet. Adi says, I told you I have nothing to do with music. She says, but you have relationship with me. I want to listen to it. She plays it. Adi says, stop. Adi takes it from her and plays. Devi rests her head in his lap. Kesa says, it's been 3 years when I waited for you. Kesa hugs him and says, I want to go ahead with this relationship. He says, please, what are you doing? There is a reason why I stayed away from you and for my behavior. He wears his shirt. Kesa says, 3 years I have lived alone. I want to make this relationship. She says, what is it? He says, I met a Babaji. He told me if I get married, I will die. She says, what are you saying? I waited these 3 years for you and for your life. She says, let me bring you water. He says, how do I tell you the truth? Devi asks Adi, are you doing all this for me or just your child? Sarad comes. Kesa says, I am going to the temple. Mukun isn't well. I have fasted. A Baba comes in and says something really bad will happen. Hera says, what are you saying, Baba? Hera says he came from Ajmer. He's saying something bad will happen in this house. It's because of the coming child. Adi says, don't say a word about my child. Baba says, there is a danger in your child's life. Adi says, tell me the solution. Adi says, tell me what I have to do. Baba says, you have to save him from the danger. Devi says, stop, this is superstition. Adi says, I don't care. Devi says to Masa, please stop all this. She says the solution Baba is going to say might even kill Adi. Devi says, how can you do this? Masa says, can you see him in? If you want to stop this, tell him the truth. Devi says, how can you see your son in pain? Hera says, you don't need to care about that. Baba takes Adi to temple. Devi sees Adi all chained. Devi says, what are they doing to him? Sarad says to Adi, what are you doing? He says, it's about my kid. I have to do it. He is tied by a nailed chain. Devi says, please listen to me. You take care of me and our child. Nothing will happen to him. This is superstition. And he says, I will do anything for my child. He lays down. Devi says, I beg you, don't do this. The nails bleed his body. Devi says to Hera, please stop him. Hera says, tell him the truth. Devi says, Adi, please stop. Devi says to Baba, how can you tell future? He says, when I hit myself, I can see people's future. She says, you hit yourself and get future of other people. You don't have to hit yourself anymore. I will do that for you. I will hit you. Adi says, what are you doing? Devi says, he said pain makes him see future. I will make him see future. Anyone can give him that pain. Devi takes the belt from him. He is scared. He says, I am a fake barber. I did what I was told to do. This is all a lie. He runs. Devi says to Adi, why did you have to do it? Nothing can happen to our child. Hera says, are you okay? Adi says to Devi, make sure no Baba ever comes near our house. Devi says, sure. She says to Masa, you play so bad. Devi applies med on Adi's wounds. He says, I can do anything for my child. Devi says, you, what about me? Can you do anything for me? Am I part of all this or not? He leaves. Kesa applies tilak on Mukan. She says, I fasted. This will solve all your problems. He says, what am I doing? She fasted all day because of me. She deserves to know the truth. He calls Kena and says, I am coming to meet you. Devi comes to Ambika's room. She hugs her. Ambika says, what happens? Devi says, I can't leave this lie. Ambika says, you can't give up. Devi says, I have seen the good in him. I have seen love in his life. I have lied to him. We did this all for him, but it's a lie anyways. He's crazy for his child. I have to tell him the truth before Masa does. You know I can't do all this. I will tell him the truth. Umi comes to Hera and shows her the video. She has recorded everything Devi was saying to Ambika. Masa says this proof isn't enough. I can't show this to Adi. I have to do something. Umi gives her phone to an editor. She asks him to edit the clips. Devi snatches her phone. Devi says, you were spying on me? The man runs. Devi says, I will go to the police. Umi says, "Give me back my phone." She tries to snatch her phone. The phone falls and Devi gets hit by a car. Umi screams. Everyone is dazed. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and come back for more updates from your favorite Z Word series.